does is it simply throws away the 0.5 and gives the answer as 2. So 10 divided by 4, if they're both integers, will give you 2. Please note it doesn't round up or down, it simply just throws away the decimal. So if I say it throws away the decimal, when I say 14 divided by 5 in normal maths, the answer is 2.8. In C#, because the answer must be an integer, and because it throws away the decimal, your answer is still 2. It does not round it up to 3. So make sure you understand that. It simply throws away the 0.8 and makes it 2. So just further revision, if I say A divided by B, 4 divided by 10, in maths the answer is 0.4. In C#, it throws away the 0.4 and your answer is now 0. Notice what I've done here, which is something that could confuse you. I've made the answer variable a double, so that means the answer variable can now take decimals or fractions. I know that 10 divided by 4 is 2.5 in mathematics. I'm assigning that value to a double variable that can take decimals. But it's very important to understand the C# first evaluates the expression on the right hand side. It ignores what the variable is on the left hand side. So although there's a double on the left hand side, B divided by A, because they are both integers, is still 2. So it still assigns 2 to answer and not 2.5. This is the trick that you would have to do if you're dividing two integers and you want the answer to be a double or contain a decimal value. So instead of saying B divided by A, notice what we've done there. We first multiply A with 1.0. So what this now does, because I'm multiplying an integer with a double, A times 1.0 now becomes a double value. So it's actually, you can see it as being 4.0. Now I'm saying B divided by 4.0, or int divided by a double. As soon as one of the two becomes a double, the answer is now also a double. So now I get 2.5 and it's assigned to the double variable answer, and 2.5 is printed. So that multiplied by 1.0 is the trick to get a double answer. An important thing to note about division that you must always remember. In this example you're saying B divided by A, which is 10 divided by 0. In C# or most programming languages, you cannot divide by 0. If your program gets to this line, it will crash. So you can never in your program have something that divides by 0. Okay, so let's look at the operator remainder. It is what it says it is. If you say, in this case we've got A is 7 and B is 16. If you now say B remainder A, the way you understand that is as follows. How many 7s go into B? And we know that's 2 7s. So 2 times 7 is 14. And then the remainder is 2. Okay, so there's 2 7s in 16. That takes you up to 14. And the remainder is 2. So the value 2 will go into this variable answer. But now we have an interesting complication with the remainder. If we say 7 remainder B, imagine you have 7 sweets and we're saying we need to divide the 7 sweets amongst 16 people. So the first question is, how many times does 16 go into 7? Clearly 0 times, because 16 is greater than 7. Okay, so all of them will get no sweets, and we will have 7 sweets left. So the answer of 7 remainder 16 is 7. 7 remainder 16 is 7. One last kind of alternative you could have is if you say 7 remainder 7. Now if you think clearly, how many times does 7 go into 7? It goes in once. So if each person gets 1 sweet of the 7 people, how many sweets are left is 0. So 7 remainder 7 gives you the answer of 0. Okay, so what are we trying to do here? We say we've got 0 sweets. We're trying to divide them among 7 people. So we say 0 remainder 7. Clearly no one will get anything and there will be nothing left. So the remainder is 0. One last kind of alternative you could have is if you say 7 remainder 7. Now if you think clearly, how many times does 7 go into 7? It goes in once. So if each person gets 1 sweet of the 7 people, how many sweets are left is 0. So 7 remainder 7 gives you the answer of 0. Last comment on the remainder. What we're trying to do here is we're saying 7 remainder 0. 7 remainder 0. The remainder, you can see, is kind of a fancy version of the division. And you remember that you cannot divide by 0. So the same applies to the remainder. You can't apply the remainder to a 0. So in this case, the program will also crash.